All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Denver Broncos this morning fired offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi. I'm just kidding. I'm being performative because we kind of knew this was coming. So, numerous reasons. We're going to talk about the Broncos offseason in general here because their season's unfortunately over. Davis Webb, their quarterback coach, has been huge in the development of Bo Nix, who just finished his sophomore campaign, led them to a 14-3 record, the number one seed in the AFC. The thought process here, at least in my opinion, is Joe Lombardi just got fired. He's been with Sean Payton, at a couple of different stops, the Saints, the last few years with the Denver Broncos. But to be honest with you, the Broncos offense really kind of didn't look the best. Statistically was pretty much middle of the pack in a lot of offensive categories, and it's time to just get to that next level. And Davis Webb was about to either be a head coach of a different team, which now I feel like 7 of the 10 coaches have been hired, so maybe not been the head coach of a team, but he definitely would have gotten poached to be the offensive coordinator. And it's important to keep in mind, Sean Payton calls the plays, okay? Joe Lombardi didn't call the plays. It was Sean Payton calling plays. And, there's some overreactions here, but like I said, at least from my personal opinion, and you're going to start hearing this everywhere because it's already been talked about everywhere, but now it's official. Davis Webb should be the Denver Broncos offensive coordinator. And Davis Webb will be a head coach really soon. Really soon. But they lost the conference championship, and what sucks is Bo Nix didn't play. And it sucks, dude. It sucks so much balls that Bo Nix didn't play in that football game. But what you have to do now is you have to realize, all right, look, you went 14-3. The defense was phenomenal. The offense had moments. But what was missing in the offense was consistency, okay? Whether it was running game, especially the running game, and just the Broncos offense in general. So J.K. Dobbins picked up from the Los Angeles Chargers last season, right? His first 10 games with Denver Broncos, J.K. Dobbins is like that dude. He's that dude. He's a huge reason they're winning, huge reason they're running the ball. R.J. Harvey, the rookie, we hadn't seen anything too crazy from him because J.K. Dobbins is just the dude's RB1. He looks great. Goes down week 10 with an injury, and from that point on, the Broncos offense looked different. That wasn't always for the worst because R.J. Harvey has some pop. He's got some sizzle. Jaleel can play, the other backup running back. But the offense just, wasn't the same. And so you see as a result, the Denver Broncos offensively were around average running the ball, and they were around average in scoring the ball. So who's calling plays, who's the offense coordinator, it don't matter. Who got hurt, who didn't get hurt, wide receivers included. I know you guys got, every time I watch the Broncos in the playoffs, it's like every new quarter a wide receiver got hurt. It's time to get to that next level. So that's what we're talking about in this video here because this was expected, and Sean Payton's going to promote Davis Webb, and they've got a decent amount of cap space, or a really decent amount of cap space in comparison to a lot of these other contenders as it stands right now. Estimated 2026 cap about $36.8 million. You've got the 30th overall first round pick, and that's a starting caliber player right there. Offense, defense, offensive line, you name it. So the Broncos are in a really good spot. They're in a really good spot. But like you see it with, the Detroit Lions is the team everybody likes to bring up, where they lost in the conference championship 2 or 3 years ago, and they just have not gotten there. They lost in the first round. They got the bye in the first round last year, but lost to Washington, a rookie QB, Jaden Daniels, and then missed the playoffs this year. So the NFL moves quickly, and you need to keep your foot on the gas. And yeah, that's, Sean Payton's aware of that. Your coaching staff gets poached. Sean Payton's also well aware of that. That happens to him quite often. So the next 4 weeks, rounding out that coaching staff, getting your offseason plan in focus, because 6 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, is NFL free agencies here. So welcome back to the channel. We are talking Denver, obviously, in today's video. This mini microphone, we're still doing it because it's been like a week since I ordered my mic attachment. I looked into the meat and potatoes today. I guess it was in Mississippi last, and there was that huge ice storm, and I've seen even a couple of videos of like Mississippi on Twitter where it's like, these dudes don't have water, they don't got electricity, like no one can leave their house, like, so stay safe, first off, if you were affected by that ice snowstorm. I think like half of America was, but that mic isn't here, and so we got the mini mic, but I don't really care. We are 8 subscribers away from our goal of 100 by the end of January, and we've still got like 3 days left, so I think we're going to hit it, so thank you guys so much. But hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. I sound sicker than a dog. I don't know what it is. I don't know if anyone else has had it this season. My allergies are catastrophic. So I want to talk about one thing. No matter what Denver, and I have to preface all these videos with this because so much stuff happens, but no matter what happens at OC, like I said, it'll be Davis Webb, but if it's not Davis Webb or whatever happens with the OC spot, and whatever, doesn't matter. Denver's offseason, so vital. So I just mentioned to you they have, $40 million in cap space, and obviously there's workarounds here. Free agents, like they've got to make decisions on their linebackers. I think JFM's a free agent. Like that defense, 2 big additions, Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw. Those were the big additions for Denver 1 year ago. And then offensively, their big addition was Evan Ingram. All right. I feel as though the Evan Ingram experiment did not work out. And I feel as though defensively, I don't want to give any firm opinions on what they're going to do in the offseason quite yet because, first off, we've got over a month to talk about free agent acquisitions for this Denver Broncos team. But, my point is, offensively, this is so big because you've got the money to spend, and they need another wide receiver. There's just no other way to put it. They need another wide receiver, and I'm sure Broncos fans feel the same way. And it has nothing to do with the current talent and personnel on the roster. Like, Marvin Mims, in that Buffalo game, the dude was huge. He was best wide receiver out on the field. Marvin Mims Jr. on the return, made a, Pro Bowl first year. Did he make an All-Pro? I think it was just a Pro Bowl in his first season. So, Marvin Mims, I think he was like a second-round pick, too. He's turning into something nice, right? No one's disputing that. Cortland Sutton, fully capable wide receiver 1, probably more like a wide receiver 2, but one of the best wide receiver 2s. And I'm sorry, Broncos fans, you probably don't like this opinion, but I would put like Cortland Sutton on the same list as like, God damn it, it just freaking lost my name or it just left my head. Like Jacoby Myers with Jacksonville, but that wasn't who I was thinking of. Gosh darn it. Well, now it doesn't make any sense, but like Chris Godwin. I view Chris Godwin and Cortland Sutton very similar. Like they can step up and be wide receiver 1s if somebody gets hurt. They can step up and be wide receiver 1s if you don't have a wide receiver 1. And they're just super solid and they're super consistent. But I know Cortland Sutton at this point in his career isn't turning into, wide receiver 1 in the entire National Football League. Pat Bryant had a great rookie season, or maybe great's not a good word, but he had a really promising, intriguing rookie season. Got banged up in, both of the postseason games. I love what I see from Pat Bryant, but, we need a little bit more there, right? Lil Jordan Humphrey had some huge catches in the playoffs as well. Who's the last one? Troy Franklin got banged up a little bit, and Troy Franklin's had some moments with Bo Nix now, but they need something a little bit more reliable. And let me see if I have I'm just checking your guys' IR to make sure I'm not missing anybody, because who is that guy who got traded to the Saints? I always say his name mixed up. Devon Vele is what I've always said his name, but I feel like I always say it flipped up. Anyways, so George Pickens is the big wide receiver headline, and I highly doubt the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton seek out George Pickens this offseason. But hey, I could be wrong. If you guys don't remember, the Broncos tried to get, or they at least explored, I don't know the super specifics of it, but the Broncos tried to explore a Jalen Waddle trade in November around the trade deadline in the NFL. And that to me signals and signifies like, okay, they are going to do something in free agency. They've done something for back-to-back years now in the draft, and that's been nice. And you've gotten some really fun gadget guys. Really fun bunch of players that can do a whole multitude of different things. Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin, and are you kidding me? Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin, and Marvin Mims. Jesus. All right. So many wide receivers. It reminds me of my Green Bay Packers. And what I want my Packers to do, and I've wanted them to do for numerous years now, is go get wide receiver one. But kind of the Jalen Waddle point is, and I guarantee you some Broncos fans my wording is going to piss them off, but Courtland Sutton and Jalen Waddle, that right there, that's one of the best wide receiver units in the NFL. That's a top 10 wide receiver unit, just based off those two names. And then you throw in the gadget guys that we were just talking about. Now you got a really freaking fun wide receiver room. So when I say I think the Broncos are going to get a wide receiver one, what I more so mean is they're not going to go out there and get George Pickens. They're going to go out there and get a Jalen Waddle, and then you've got Sutton still as your wide receiver one, but you've also got, a guy like Jalen Waddle there. Now, Miami, they didn't trade Jalen Waddle. I'm sure that package is like way too high in general. Tyreek Hill's about to get cut for the Dolphins. We don't know what they're doing with quarterback, and Tua, I think, is way too expensive to cut. And they just got a new head coach in Jeff Hafley, so I would imagine Jalen Waddle stays put regardless. But I would keep my eye on a move like that for this team. Let's see if there's anything here I can find. Alec Pierce is a pretty interesting name. Let's see here. DJ Moore, maybe DJ Moore would be enticing. Is Chris Godwin a free agent? But anyways, players like that, not Brandon Ayuk, because I don't know if he's playing. I don't know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. Sorry I said that name. But anyways, Broncos are in a really good spot. So that's the situation, really. Joe Lombardi got fired. And to be honest with you, even if Davis Webb had already gotten poached and, let's say the Titans offered Davis Webb a head coaching gig right out of the get-go and he took it, I still think Joe Lombardi would have gotten fired and Denver, Sean Payton would have gone in a different direction. So it's a really obviously critical and pivotal offseason for Denver. You've had 2 straight years now of playoffs, and you've had 1 year of domination, 14-3, but the offense wasn't dominating in the way you'd want it to dominate. The defense was. So they're going to recalibrate. They're going to make some tweaks here, and year 3 is huge because you've still got Bo Nix on a rookie contract, and now you've got $40 million in cash. You've done such a good job at drafting as well. I expect this team to be uber aggressive as far as getting another wide receiver goes. Then we'll see what they do with free agency in the draft, but we'll talk Broncos before then. I just wanted to talk Davis Webb and Joe Lombardi. So, running out of breath, thank you for watching. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button for more. Let me know if you like this style of content, and let me know your thoughts on the Denver Broncos and Joe Lombardi, Davis Webb, and all that fun stuff. And we'll see you later. Goodbye. Peace.